All right, great. Well, we'll do a quick discussion on this interesting comment you made the other day. So, Donald Trump, spiritual teacher. What do you mean by that?
I do want to make a blog article about this because it surprised the heck out of me too, by the way. You don't hear very many people talking about Donald Trump as being a powerful spiritual teacher. He is, endeared and admired by many people and despised by many people. He's a very polarizing force out there. I think you either love him or hate him. There are not very many people that just feel neutral about him in some way because he has such a powerful personality.
Hmm.
So I found myself in this place to where every time I saw what he was doing and the tweets that he was making and other kinds of things as being um, really kind of upsetting to me. It was like, oh my God, why did we put this person in the White House? How could we in the United States have been so blind as to have been, have been conned by this guy who's pretending to be a president? Now, by the
Yeah.
way, there are people listening to this who may feel the same way about Hillary Clinton or somebody else in your life. The point isn't whether or not I'm right or whether you agree with my opinion.
Mhm.
The point is that there was this guy out there or this person out there that was causing me to be upset, that was in some way diminishing my consciousness and
Mhm.
reducing my love because of the fear that I had over this person. So for some of you out there, I'm sure that Donald Trump fits that category. For others, it might be Hillary Clinton. For some people, it might be Bob Mueller. For some people, who knows who it is in your life that is your antagonist.
Antagonist, yeah.
That is that person that just when you see them, think about them, feel them, hear about them, whatever, just causes you to be upset and come out of your bliss.
So Donald Trump, I'm assuming, caused you to get out of your bliss and get upset.
Yeah, so I started asking myself, that's not the way that I want to be. That's not the person that I want to be. That's not the way that I want to feel. I have some really high goals, and those goals are unconditional love. And unconditional love means that we love everybody, no matter who they are or what they are. So I started asking myself, what do I need to do? What do I need to think in order to come to that place where I love Donald Trump? The first time I did it, it was hard to do, and I thought, well, I acknowledge him. I acknowledge his personal power. I respect, the determination and the passion that he puts into his life. I believe that he's probably not a very happy guy, that he's probably under an incredible amount of stress and increasing stress all the time. I don't see him smile very much, not with a peaceful, blissful smile. I just can't imagine him sitting on a park bench, with just enjoying the fresh air and listening to the birds and the ducks and seeing the flowers and, experiencing moments of bliss or peace of mind in his life. And that
Is this
grows compassion.
is this how you are these some of the points that you contemplated?
You bet.
Mm.
Exactly. So what I find myself doing is when I think about respect and when I think about compassion, when I think about his stress, when I think about the anxiety that he must feel, and the fact that I don't know that he's ever going to experience, or certainly doesn't very often, experience a silent mind, being peaceful, being in a blissful, wonderfully relaxed, surrendered state of consciousness, that energy of unconditional love. And that immediately helped shift my consciousness. So all of a sudden, he's not upsetting to me anymore. All of
So
a sudden, I can love Donald Trump.
that's great. And you're being real about this.
I'm being very real about this.
So you
I
love Donald
practice.
Trump. But that's fine. But that's fine. I'm not trying to like put you on the defensive, but
Yeah.
that's such an interesting statement. You
It is. So
yeah.
now loving Donald Trump means that we wish the best for him. It means that we respect him in his journey. It means that if he were sitting in front of me or hired me to be a coach, that I would do everything I could to help him experience more peace in his life, more joy, more wisdom, more love in his life. It doesn't mean that I agree with all of his policies. It doesn't mean that I, hope he stays in the office for 2 full terms. It doesn't mean that, I don't see the damage that he's causing to the United States. And I still think he's a pretty terrible role model for our children. But the point is that I'm not upset.
Okay, so let's walk through this process of you're pissed off about Donald Trump, and he's gotten you out of your bliss, and you're sitting down in your office.
Yeah.
Maybe right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. So you're pissed off. Walk me through it. Pretend I'm pissed off. Here I am. I read the news. I watch CNN or read CNN.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What do I do now?
Well, ask yourself, is this the way you want to feel?
Is this the way I want to feel? Yes. This is righteous anger, man.
This is righteous anger. Do you always want to feel righteous anger? Does that feel good to you, thrilling to you?
It feels good. I like feeling it for 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, that it does. By the way, righteous anger and indignation, we are all addicted to adrenaline.
Yeah.
We're addicted to that rush of anger and that rush of fear, and this, being righteous makes us feel safe, right? And that's the whole key, is we want to feel safe. We want to feel protected. We want to feel, like we're in a community of brothers or sisters. And
okay.
As long as you feel like you're in that state of righteous indignation and it feels right to me, and God damn them, and let's go in there, let's march on Washington and get rid of the bastard. If that's the way you want to feel, then by all means go for it. That's part of your journey. However, I've come to the point in my life to where I don't like to feel that way more than 5 or 10 seconds at a time. What I really love to feel like is to be, have a tremendous amount of love and wisdom and joy and peace.
Yeah, I remember this one quote by it was back in the Vietnam protests, and she was marching with a spirit of violence. And this quote came to her she was trying to fight violence with the spirit of violence.
Right.
And it just dawned on her that she needed to do this non-violent stuff, this peaceful stuff. And she went into Buddhism or something like that. But it was not fighting violence with violence.
That's right. There's lots of quotes like that. You can't overcome hate with hate.
Yeah.
You can't overcome evil with evil.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you do have to stand up and fight, but as much as possible, do it with a loving heart. Be firm and direct, be decisive, be determined, be focused, be powerful as you want to do it, but do it with a loving heart. Do it for that person. Do it for the other people on our planet. If you want to protest against Donald Trump, don't do it to hurt Donald Trump. Do it to help other people. And also, I think that him being out of office would be in some ways very, very helpful to him, because I can imagine that the pain and the stress that he's experiencing right now is not very good in his life.
Yeah.
So, that became the exercise of whenever I feel that righteous indignation, whenever something upsets me, to go back through a sequence of thought and action that allows me to return to my state of loving bliss, my state of wisdom, of being grounded and centered and balanced, of not being upset.
And that sequence of thought and action was kind of I don't want to feel righteous anger, and it's okay if you do, but you particularly don't. I don't want to feel this, and then you think about Donald Trump saying, "Oh, is he in pain?" So you're feeling anger. Oh, do I want to feel this? No, I don't want to feel this.
I have many, many different words associated with the word love that help me embody that and embrace it, like acknowledgement, respect, consideration, acceptance, appreciation, admiration, support, encouragement, empathy, connectivity, forgiveness, kindness.
Sure. So you're feeling something like anger, and then you start running through these words through your head, or at some point you do a contemplation too, because you mentioned that in the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, if someone's sitting down right here, right now, they're angry, they don't want to feel that way. You say maybe start
thinking about all of the different ways, all of the different energies, all the different words that describe to you what it means to love someone.
Okay.
I've been doing that for years and
Love,
years and years.
respect, peace, joy,
I've got my list that I started
caring.
going through. Yeah, exactly.
And then once I feel a little shift in positive energy, then I can be like, oh, Donald's having a hard time. He's probably under stress. And
by the way, that was a couple of 3 months ago. And since then, that journey into unconditional love has really continued, you know, in some really wonderful, blessed ways. Because once I was able to love Donald Trump, I was able to love everybody, right? Because he was the toughest one to love. So if I can love him, I can love anybody and everybody.
Huh.
And then something I did not expect was that unconditional love meant so much more than just loving people. It meant loving everything. I woke up one morning deciding that, you know, I don't love my own weaknesses. I don't love my own fear. I don't love it when I make a mistake. I don't love it when I find myself to have stepped into the shadows for a few minutes. And making a determination that unconditional love was a lot more than just loving everybody. It was loving everything. And I came to have a greater appreciation of Byron Katie's work called Loving What Is, and really began to understand that love is not something that you objectify. It's not in its highest form. It's not that I love this and that and this and that and that. It's that I am in an energy of love. I am in a state of being I call love, and that energy flows out to everything that I experience in my life. You know, all of the people, all of the strengths, all of the weaknesses, all of the doubt, indecision, every single thing that I experience in my life, I choose to meet that head on with the energy of love.
So how long does it take you to switch from feeling pissed off to, you know, oh,
well, here's the really good news. Usually only a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Sometimes seconds. Yeah, I've been on this journey I call The Practice of Awakening. That's kind of the name of the first 2 books I wrote on this journey for a long, long time. And here's the really, really good news about practicing that shift, practicing awakening, is that with practice, it gets easier. You know, the more that you do it, you not only are shifting your energy for this moment, but you're also making it easier to shift your energy in every future moment that there is. So it becomes a habit. It becomes a skill that you can do. And I've been working and working and working and doing it 20,000, 30,000 times, 10, 20, 30 times a day for years and years. So I'm getting pretty good at it.
So what happens when they haven't been practicing as long, they try to practice with Donald Trump, and when they think about Donald, actually I met someone, I see this person fairly often. I'm not going to give away any names or clues as to who they are, but they said, you know what, I don't watch the news because I know if I do, I'll be too pissed off. So what if this
I've got people in my life like that too.
Yeah. So with this person, like, would you recommend focusing on them? Would you recommend focusing on Donald Trump to train loving? No. Okay.
It may be too tough. You know, if they do decide to do that, then you start out with the very basics, which is we acknowledge him. We acknowledge that he exists, that he's a separate human being, that he's got his own journey. You know, that we don't know why he's this way. We don't know if this is a contract. You know, he signed with God before he was born that said, I'm going to go piss off, you know, half the United States. You know, but we acknowledge his journey. The next step up is the respect. You know, respect a person. I
think that's where it's hard for a lot of people.
That becomes a lot. And when you gain the wisdom that who we are today, you know, is a result of what happened to us and some of the choices that we made in early childhood, it becomes a lot easier to respect a person when you think about the abuse and the crap that they went through as a child, nobody, as you and I have had in many cases, nobody survives their childhood unscathed. We all come out with some damage. We, self-imposed or imposed by other people or whatever. We all come out with some work to do.
Yeah. I like what you're saying right here, because the $1 million question, I think you just answered it implicitly, but the $1 million question being, how do I respect someone I hate? Right. And you kind of just answered it, where if I can see that person on their own journey and being the way they are because of various abuses and tragedies and, hardships, that kind of shifts your perspective to be a little bit more wise and understanding that this person, they might be mean or whatever, but at least I can see that they've gone through some pain in their past and have some, some compassion for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a great quote that I'm going to look up here that I'm almost got, by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, that you and I took a look at.
Yeah, in our group the other day, because we do intelligence.
It goes like this. If you knew the secret history of those you would like to punish, you would find a sorrow and a suffering enough to disarm all your hostility.
There you go.
But we don't know the secret history of Donald Trump.
We don't.
But we can imagine that there is one. We can imagine that, he was a troubled child sent away to boarding school. We can imagine that he didn't get the attention from his parents that he wanted. We can imagine that he was dumped by a girlfriend after girlfriend at an early age. We can imagine that he was bullied in some way, so he became very, very combative. We can imagine that he had never fit in really well. We can imagine that he has had trouble with many, many wives. We can imagine that he lives in a world of argument after argument after argument. It just takes a willingness to respect another person, a willingness to love yourself enough to not let that person bring you down, to begin on that journey of loving Donald Trump.
Let's wrap up with that, man. That was good.
Yeah, well, that's the wrap up. So Donald Trump's my new spiritual teacher. He taught me more. He gave me the opportunity to learn lessons that allowed me to increase my love, to be unconditional love for not just everybody, but everything, and not just some of the time, but all the time. And that's one of my favorite mantras that I've used for, many, many days now. Love everybody, love everything, love all the time.
Sounds good to me, man. All right. I'm going to end this live. Peace. Okay. Love your comments on live. Peace. Okay. So live is done.